Hey everyone, John here, senior software engineer with 10 years of experience. I'm the lead maintainer of Latterly.io, which is an open source educational platform that will help you land your first or next programming role. You can sign up for free. You can join the Discord, a couple hundred people on there that will love to support your network. There's 24/7 support with a chat bot, and then you can unlock additional features starting $1 a month, an advanced checklist, and instructor-led small groups like live sessions at a higher price point. So that's me. And then today, we're going to contribute to some third-party open source projects. So contributing to open source, I love contributing to Latterly, but we want to give back to the broader community. Latterly uses Blitz.js. This is a great example of dog fooding. Whenever Latterly comes across a valuable feature that can be backported to the framework, I'll at least create an issue. And sometimes they say, hey, please pull request that. And so it's my great privilege to be able to contribute this today. This will be a security enhancement. I'm very proud to be contributing I think, pretty simply defined security enhancement. And so the question is, what do security, Blitz.js, Pygame, and Pyodide have in common? These frameworks might seem world apart, and that's because they are. They're totally different languages. No need for those stacks to be incorporated together. But what they have in common is that we can contribute to all of them in the next 30 minutes. If that sounds interesting to you, smash the like button, share the video with a friend, and let's dive in. So the way that I'm going to start here is I'm going to refresh the page to get rid of this bar. I'm going to ensure that I have a fork of Blitz already created. I think I do. Fork already exists under Vanderveer. So I will go to the fork list. How do I get there? I think it's under my own repositories. So I go to my repositories. I will look up Blitz. So here's my fork. The first thing that I'm going to do is grab the main branch. Do they have a main or a master branch? Looks like they're still using master. So I'll grab the master branch and check it out locally. Try to get the latest version locally. Okay, so I'm cloning Blitz. I'm going to get the upstream URL. So when you're dealing with forks, you're making a cross fork pull request, you will want to add the remote origin for the upstream. And the upstream is that code base which you forked. So here's the upstream, and the upstream is on main. So I will not just want the remote origin name, I will also want that remote branch, main on upstream. So I'll get remote add. Oh, let me cd into Blitz. So here I am. Now we'll get remote add upstream, and I will paste that URL there. Now we'll get fetch upstream main. Okay, now I have the upstream main branch. What branch am I on currently? I'm on local master. I'm on Canary. Okay, now I will get checkout-b, and I will make a feature branch named after the issue that I'm implementing. So again, I want pre-approval of this feature, and now I'm going to implement it. You can also just eagerly pull request. Sometimes that can be a waste of time because they might just close your PR. In this case, it might have been suitable anyway because it's like a single file change. It's a pretty small change. So you can use your judgment, but as a common pattern for open source development, I am a fan of what I call Discord-driven development. where you will start by talking to someone that works on the project. Blitz has a great Discord, by the way. You can join, so you can check out Blitz.js.com, and you can get to their Discord right from here. You can also get to their Twitter. You can just send them a tweet or just come open an issue or a discussion here. So here on my clipboard, 4334, and this will be sensor logs by default. So the feature here is that if you're a streamer like me, Blitz will stream your debug level logging to the terminal by default, which can include sensitive data, because when your query reads out of your database, the debug level logging by default will print all the queried records. It will just print them on your terminal. So the feature here is, let's not do that by default. By default, we want to ban the debug level logging, and it'll be this implementation I did here. Blitz log disable level. What is mine set to locally? Info, debug. I think info is safe. I think info will be the safe level. So let me look in my, I'm going to take this off screen because I need to look at my environment variable. And we'll be moving that environment variable to the template file. Debug. Let me go ahead and just grab the value from that environment variable. Okay, so here you can see I have this .env file. This is a template file. This is not the sensitive values. Okay, yeah, and so we'll copy this into the upstream, basically. That's the idea. So I have my branch that I made here, git branch. Now I'm on this new feature branch, and now what I want to do is git reset -hard upstream main. So my feature branch will be starting from the upstream main branch, and I'm going to add this log change for security. Great. This is the laterally code base in front of us. You see the file in the upper sort of middle right here where I'm clicking. This is the laterally code base which uses the framework. It's not my feature branch over there. It's just where we're copying the log level from. So this is the dog fooding we're doing. We're going to take it out of the implementation repository and add it to the framework repository. You can see I'm in a VS Code multi-root setup. I have like a bunch of folders in my workspace. So we're looking in Blitz. Blitz is going to use a monorepo pattern. I'm looking for the Blitz env file that is the one that gets installed. That's where I'm going to add this value. I think it's under apps, is it? And now this is one thing that I don't like. Let me know, chat, if you know how to change this. But when I close a file, it will jump my workspace scroll bar around. I'm not a fan of that. Let's see, is it the Toolkit app? I don't think so. Wow. So maybe the smart thing to do here is look for a known file that Blitz installs. So let's look for one of those, and then we can find the location that way. The next config, I think there's like a Blitz config, or at least there used to be. Maybe this will be in the installed repo. So we can look in the markdown files, TSX files, TS files, and JS files. Okay. And here we go. Now this looks like the generator. So this looks correct. Looks like there's two different Blitz package generators that will use this expression. Okay. So we have these two candidates of where we will place the implementation. Wilbert says, do you have a coding job? No, recently laid off, unfortunately. How about you? Okay. Well, I say unfortunately. Maybe it's a good thing. We'll find out. So here are two candidates. This is edited 22 months ago. I can see in this short blame up at the top. This is edited 5 months ago. So this looks like the newer case. I will just edit this one. So I'll leave alone this so-called minimal app. So here, this is a template. And I don't see the environment variables here either. I think there's like a shared, there's going to be like a shared utilities folder. So let me look now for .env. Maybe I'll find it this way. Okay, here's a bunch of .env. Next 13, toolkit, integration tests. Not interested in those. Packages, generator, templates app. This looks correct. This is the place for default values for all environments. Yes, I think this is what I intend to change. We could add it to the minimal app as well. Why not? Why not? Let's go for this. It's a pretty straightforward change anyway. Okay, so I have the log level debug. So we'll add this. I'll simply do that. So we have this log level debug. Thank you for the follow. If you're enjoying the video, go ahead and tap the like button. That will help the algorithm send it to other potentially interested users. Now let's look for the RPC handler. Command-Shift-F, Command-V, Enter. You can see this is used in many places. I don't want to update all of these. I think my compromise to look at these two is pretty good. Thank you for the likes, nothing347. Okay. So we're in the minimal app template, and also, yeah, so and also the app and the minimal app templates. I'm surprised to see so much code duplication. I thought they would have extracted this. That's okay, not my problem. Here's Pages API RPC. What is the name of the file where I'm taking this from? It's Pages API RPC. So here's the implementation we're trying to dog food, right? Let me look for this comment. Okay, so this is the thing that we're changing. This is the thing that we're changing. And I only see it used in app, not in the minimal app. So I'll copy this, and if the code is the same, we can put it in both places. Thank you for the rose. Code looks a little different. I'm not sure. Toolkit app passport.js. I think we'll leave it alone. So I will roll back my quote minimal app change, and I'll only be implementing it here. And I'm going to literally copy the whole file and paste it here. API, export default API RPC handler, export default API RPC handler. Yeah. So I'll just paste the whole thing. This is just because I haven't installed the types. That's not a real error. So I think we can leave it like this. And I think that's it. Minimal app will roll this back. Go ahead and publish the branch to origin. We'll publish to origin and make a cross fork pull request. And this feature is hide raw DB query output from terminal by default. TypeScript pains me. I use it a lot at work now. What were you using before? I've always found TypeScript to be pretty enjoyable. And if you look at the Stack Overflow developer survey over the past 5 years, it is consistently one of the most loved languages because you're able to incrementally type where and when it's needed. Did you come from a background with stronger types or weaker types? Okay, so here I can create my pull request, and I will simply say closes this. And I will tag Suresh. Good. I think that's it. The relation here should be automatically created by GitHub. Great. Okay. And that does it for this GitHub issue. I'd like to cover 2 issues today. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. He'll get to it when he gets to it. And besides the Blitz update, I'd like to look at this Pygame issue with Pyodide. On the Pyodide repository, Pygame was recently added to Pyodide. I immediately tried to use it because I want to build a game in Python, and there were issues. And so I filed this issue, and they were like, hey, like, try to do this thing to fix it. So we'll try that. Right after I lower my standing desk. Guys, I've been programming for a while, over a decade. So I do open source because I'm passionate about it. But if you are relatively junior, if you're early career, open source is also a phenomenal way for you to get experience. As an early career job search candidate, I'm faced with an apparent chicken and egg problem. It goes, you must have 3 years of experience for this entry-level role, right? But how can I get 3 years of experience if I can never get a professional role by which to start accumulating experience? The solution is a portfolio. You count the portfolio as experience, and you can solve the chicken and egg problem. Creating open source contributions is a fantastic way to build your portfolio. So that's another reason you can sign up at Latterly. You'll get access to this free standard checklist, and it walks you through building 4 projects that can constitute your portfolio. They're not meant to be cookie cutter. So we give you these projects, and we basically, they're blogs, basically, and a couple other things. But you will make it in a way that is personalized to you. It's going to be your blog content. It's going to be your favorite colors, your look and feel. So it should not be cookie cutter. This will build a portfolio for you. And then if you'd like to, you can go the extra mile, or maybe your job search is taking a while and you just want to remain active coding as your job search goes on, which you should be doing. After that, you can go third party. So these projects will be open source on your own GitHub portfolio, but then you can go third party, by which I mean you can contribute to existing well-recognized projects after you have the basics of coding down. And if you want someone to hold your hand through that process, come over to the Discord. There are a few projects of reasonable size in the open source world, which are associated to like hand-holding projects. So like Free Code Academy or something like this. What's another one? Code. I don't know. There are a few of these things that will like help you learn how to contribute. Open Sourced is a decent one. Open Sourced. So Open Sourced, you can help learn a beginner's guide to open source, a beginner's guide to getting started. So this is like another place where you can go to learn about like getting started open source contributing. There's a few of these places. Latterly is one of them. Just come over to the Discord, and we can help walk you through like what is a good first issue. Like what does that mean? And how do you get started? Pedro says, can we see your portfolio? Sure. This is my basic portfolio page. This itself is also open source, by the way. So like this website, check out the source code here, and you can copy that source code. So I have all my socials up there. Latterly is the shining jewel of my portfolio. Arya's Tale is really cool too. So this is like more in RPG game world. And then you can go, if you scroll down, you can go to like smaller elements of the portfolio. This is really fun. This vanilla flat white, there's like a turkey. You can change the colors. This is like a micro project. It's very small. It's a single HTML page. And yeah, you can change the color of the tips of those feathers. Like here, I'll just do black. Right? Or That's white. I guess that's kind of hard to see, but it's white. Trust me, bro. I guess that's gray. And then you can click it and listen. You're able to hear that. I think my stream software might censor the audio on my, like the audio that's coming out of my computer, but it makes a gobbly sound if you click the turkey. So that's my portfolio anyway. Actually, my portfolio is much larger. Those are just kind of like the main ones. If you go to my GitHub, you can see that this is pretty important too. Actually, even in your portfolios, it's nice to do this profile page. But yeah, I have like over 90 repositories. So I have a pretty big portfolio. You don't need this many. 3, 4, 5. That's what you need. 3, 4, 5 projects. Are you a senior? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. Let's get into this Pyodide stuff, huh? Are you looking for a job? Yes, I am. Yep. So Pygame I have locally. Where is that? RESTL RPG, if I'm not mistaken, is trying to use Pygame, and it ran into errors. RESTL RPG, RESTL TCG Python. I think it will be the TCG. Yep. Okay, this is the one. Call Me Good says, "Are you graduating soon?" Me? I graduated from my PhD program about 5 years ago. So I think the answer would be no. Dang, it's hard to find a job as a senior Swede, ? No, I don't really think so. I don't think it's that. I mean, for me, it hasn't been hard. So I got laid off like 2 weeks ago, and I had like a final round today. And I have more interviews lined up. So finding a good job, the question is like, what kind of job? If you're just trying to get any job, I hate to call anything easy. That's very tricky. But certainly it's going to be easier to find it's going to be easier to find a mundane job as a senior compared to finding either a great job as a senior or even finding any job whatsoever as a junior. So I wouldn't call it easy, but if you're a junior and you're like, man, my experience is this is a really tough market. First of all, you're right. It is a tough market, but I would say it's probably easier for me than it has been for you. I mean, I have thousands of LinkedIn connections, tens of thousands of social media followers on other channels. I have unfair advantages, and I'm aware of that. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to I'm trying to give you hope that life can be great when you're a senior, but also balance that with the fact that I understand what you're going through, and I'm not trying to make light of your situation. So hopefully you can see my intent there. Insane says, "Hello, how have you been? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you." Yeah, I've been good. Insane says, "Most developers are moving to SRE." No, that's not accurate, unfortunately. Sorry. I hate to be the guy who's like, technically, according to data, that's not true, but it's not. Most developers are not moving into SRE. Yeah, just check out, don't take my word for it. Just check out Indeed.com or LinkedIn Jobs. Techie Writer says, "As a lead, it's not always worth moving up from senior." That's the truth. That's the truth. It's not always worth it, indeed. Okay, so here we are. We're in this source dis pattern, really simple pattern. This build file is going to read source and interpolate this HTML file. Basically, we need the canvas. We need the canvas element so that we can load a Python game into that canvas. So this is Python in the browser. If you're not familiar with Pyodide, PyScript, Pyodide and PyScript are allowing us to run Python in the browser. And so why on earth would you want to run Python in the browser? Well, one fantastic use case is because in Python world, there's a really nice like indie game toolkit called Pygame. And there are some equivalents in web dev world. We have something called Phaser. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying I was curious to see if Pygame would work and or would be easier than Phaser. Techie Writer says, what are your lives about? What are you building? Today, we're doing open source contribution to Pygame and Pyodide and PyScript. We also dealt with Blitz.js. That's already done, though. So those are open source contributions. And then I also often work on Latterly. Sorry, I didn't mean to open up LinkedIn. Latterly, which is another like open source project that I'm deeply involved in. I'm the lead maintainer of Latterly. And so what are my streams about in general? Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday evenings, I'm typically doing open source development. Monday through Friday, around midday, I'm typically doing interview preparation in public. So that's going to be LeetCode, SysDesign in public. Sometimes I'll do like a podcast. I had a great privilege of speaking to this guy, Nick, also known as Dev Leader. So that I did that during a weekday, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll have some other blogs coming up with some really cool people. So smash the like and subscribe button. All sorts of skill development. One that I'm hoping to do soon will be on the topic of crucial conversations. Also things to do with networking. And some of that does go into your behavioral interview, right? One of the topics I'm interested in talking about is treating the behavioral interview as a crucial conversation. And what does that look like? So I hope you'll follow for that. Techie Writer says, oh, so this is your full-time gig. You managed to escape corp world. No, I was just laid off. I was just laid off. And so I have some extra time on my hands for, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks or something. Probably the stream schedule will change once I get employed. No problem at all. Like, no problem at all. Don't feel bad for asking questions. I love the questions. Do you have another job lined up? I'm interviewing. I haven't accepted any offers yet. You know, some people have kind of like mentioned. I don't really want to get into that. I have not accepted an offer yet. I think that's the right thing to say. I'm interviewing at maybe like some like multiple places. I don't want to say where I'm interviewing or anything like that, but I'm interviewing at multiple places and things are going pretty well, but I have not accepted an offer yet. So if you want to say that that counts as having a job lined up, I'll put that ball in your court. Does coding every day ever bore you or make you feel burnt out? If so, how to combat that? This is a fantastic question, and I'm so glad you're asking this. So I recently answered this on my LinkedIn. I posted about this recently, so let me pull it up. By the way, my LinkedIn is also in my bio. I typically don't call this out, but I've been having I've been posting on LinkedIn lately. And I would say they're good posts too. Like I hate to come across braggy, but I've been putting some useful nuggets on the LinkedIn, so check it out. So today I dropped this gem, 5 sources of offer negotiation leverage, okay? That's an example of like a nugget that you would have gotten today. The burnout thing, I did this a couple days ago. Let's see if I can quickly find it. This was a joke. You'll also see my terrible jokes. So it is true that SpaceX didn't want to interview me. It's also true that like I wasn't like I don't care about SpaceX. So I tried to make a joke that if you have any Earth-related jobs, feel free to send them my way. And the joke is like, send me any job opportunities. But then people were like, oh, so sorry, SpaceX didn't work out. I was like, y'all are so nice, but it wasn't like a serious application. Okay, here's the burnout thing. So 2 days ago. Let's see if I can find the username who asked this question. It was a great question. I'm sorry I didn't get your username. I'm going to quickly one more time plug Laterally. I know I've been doing this the whole stream, but if you ask a question and if I don't get to it during the stream, please come over to the Discord and we can just have a conversation over there. Also, if you're currently on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube or Twitch. Link is in my bio and be able to see the full screen. You follow Zach Wilson too. Zach is awesome. Zach is really cool, you guys. He's more like in data world. So I'm like more in software world. Yeah, if you don't know who Zach Wilson is, exactly. That's his handle also, exactly. Go check him out. Very smart guy. Okay, so burnout, here are 4 quick tips. Here's 4 quick tips. Budget your time. So how do you deal with a shortage of energy? The same way that you deal with a shortage of time, the same way that you deal with a shortage of finance or general shortage of resources. And that is, you get intentional, you get strategic, you make a budget. So tip number 1 is just make a budget. Tip number 2 is find projects that you're genuinely passionate about. It's actually surprisingly hard. You might not believe this if you're currently in a state of burnout. But if you ask somebody who is able to work on a passionate project, many people, and this does vary a little bit by personality type, but many people find it virtually impossible to get burned out. They find it virtually impossible to get burned out because the project that they're working on, they're genuinely passionate about it. And every small little step that you take, it's like a shot of espresso or like eating a bag of like Sour Patch Kids. Not because it's sour, but because it has like a lot of sugar. It gives you energy is what I'm trying to say. And you'll actually have the reverse problem. Not, hey, I can't get myself to work, but hey, I can't get myself to stop working. These people actually need to watch out for workaholism and sleep deprivation. And I've been on both sides of this. When I do open source contribution and when I talk about educating people, I'm genuinely passionate about this. And I do get into there's nights where I'm like up until 3 or 4 just because I didn't want to go to sleep because I wanted to finish the thing. And it's like, you got to watch out for that because now like your productivity the next day is kind of messed up, isn't it? Okay, get involved with communities. Again, varies by personality type. If you look at the Big 5 model and you look at extroversion, so you're going to have like social recharge, which is disproportionately accrued to extroverts. In program world and like we have more introverts relatively. So this may be an overall weaker advice, but it's still a good call out that if you can get with a good team, like people that you're friendly towards, people that have good banter, people that can take a joke, you'll find, at least many people will find, that it energizes you, or at least it doesn't deplete you as quickly. And so both of those are burnout mitigation strategies. One of the best ways to address burnout is to prevent it, right? So if you're like, well, lowering my energy more slowly doesn't help because I'm already out of energy. Well, you're in a situation where you need a treatment and you need an intervention at this point. But in general, when it comes to burnout, one of the best solutions is just prevention rather than intervention. So among the 4 tips, they will not all equally apply to all people in all situations, but you can see the collection of the tips. It's still worth mentioning, basically. And Aruda, do you do resume reviews? Yeah, absolutely. So you can go over to laterally.io and you can book an expert session right there. If you join the Discord and DM me, I might give you a discount, and I might even, don't tell anyone I said this, I might even just do your resume review for free if you reach out. But the standard way would be you can book a call right there. Last tip is lifestyle compensation. So the whole idea of passion projects where it's like, it's hard for me to burn out because I'm so passionate about this. You can also do that with hobbies that are not directly work related. So you can go like soldier on at work, take your paycheck home, and then re-energize yourself outside of work via your hobbies. Maybe you're like really into like fishing and like boats or whatever you're into, hiking. I had a coworker who is like really into snowboarding. Like, come on, that's got to be fun, right? And I'm sure there's like, you might be able to get physically tired or something like that. But I can also just imagine the thrill of it. And that would be energizing in a certain way. So maybe you have this sort of passion motive, but it's not directed to the work itself. It's indirect on the work. It's pointed at some hobbies, and that works for some people too. That was a fun tangent. Thank you for the question. Thanks for being here. Let's do this Pygame thing. So here's my index template. I think I explained it's consumed into the build process here. Let me navigate my terminal to that location. So I'm going to cd up and over to Aria's tail tcg Python. Okay, here we are. My terminal is in that location. This is VS Code, y'all. If you're a Python developer and you're not familiar with the UI in front of us, maybe you're used to PyCharm or something. This is VS Code, and these days I prefer it for Python as well. Michael, thank you for the follow. 937 likes. I'm sure we can get over 1,000. Go ahead and tap the like button. Thanks for the likes so far. I'm sure we can get a little bit further. Okay, and so let me double check what the advice on the GitHub was. And let me also just remember. So yeah, basically the approach here. Are we using Poetry or not? No, it's just a build script. So you'll just say Python build, and I'll hit enter. And then it ultimately says that the index file in CSS got created, and that's all we need. This is the crazy part about Pyodide. If it works in theory, look at this dist. It's going to have Python code in the HTML file. Just like you have a script tag where your JavaScript goes, if Pyodide is effective, you'll have a PyScript tag. If this is your first time seeing this, it might be clinically diagnosable to you. It may be like clinically insane to you. But that's the dream of Pyodide and PyScript. Okay, so you literally drag this over to your Chrome browser because it's just an HTML file. So let me open up an empty tab. And you can host it on like GitHub pages, like static hosting. Okay, so this is the HTML file, and this is an error. No module named Pygame. No module named Pygame. We can open up our DevTools and we see a little bit more information, just like you would if it were JavaScript, trying to load a JavaScript web app. And here my like head's in the way on the stream, isn't it? Bother about that. Sorry. But you can see that it's loading. It's trying to load Python packages into the browser here. You see this? Pyodide load package micropip. If you're familiar with Python world and pip, you will pip install a package. Micropip is going to pip install into your browser. It's the equivalent of Browserify, if you remember the old Node days, where you would want an npm package on your browser. It's the equivalent of Browserify for Python. Taran says, "Did you get the role, brother?" I had a good day. I had a good day. I have not accepted any offers yet. I had no idea that you can live stream on LinkedIn. Yeah, times are changing. I think LinkedIn is introducing like even like the short videos, like it's a TikTok or something. Like now that TikTok is getting canceled, LinkedIn sees a market opportunity. Good for them, I guess. Adrian, thank you for the likes. Oh, look at that. We're over 1,000. Thank you so much. Quick reminder, if you're on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube or Twitch and see the full screen. Taran says, "I have my final round tomorrow." Good luck. Good luck. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. And if you just want to chat with somebody after the fact, I highly recommend after every interview you do, whether it goes well or whether it goes poorly, in both cases, reflect. Just reflect after. Is there anything that you can learn? If it went well, there's something that you can learn. There's something that you can reinforce. If it went poorly, there's something you could pivot on the next time around. So just do a moment of reflection. And for some people, reflecting collaboratively, like sort of a rubber duck post-mortem, if you will, That can be, it can just be fun. You know, some people just like to chat it up. Other people are more solo. Totally respect that. But yeah, reach out if you want to. Kevin, welcome, welcome. Kevin says, I have a degree in computer science, but it's been 3 years. How do I get back into it? Build projects, Kevin. Build projects. The same way you get back into it is no different than the first way you got into it. Build projects. Latterly.io. Here's the standard checklist. And so these are the standard big 4 projects that I'll recommend. There's the trial by fire, which is like a 1-hour-long crash course through HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. It goes through all of these in about an hour. That could be a useful refresher. I don't know, Kevin. It might be useful for you. The main intent there is it sort of gives a preview. So if you've never programmed before, you see this trial by fire. It just gives you kind of like a high level of overview of what you will be learning later. But I think it might serve a dual purpose. Try it out and let me know. If someone has been away from coding for a while, it might be a really awesome, like make your light bulbs go off. Did that make any sense? I'm not sure if that metaphor was apt. It could trigger your memory. Is that a more useful way of constructing the idea? Let me know. It's open source. If the whole thing's terrible, submit a pull request. So what am I doing now? I have no module named Pygame. And indeed, there is no module named Pygame. It's called Pygame CE. Within Pyodide, so there's this thing called Pygame. And that's not how you spell it. That's how you spell it. There's the thing called Pygame on the Python module list. It's Pygame. But in Pyodide, they named it Pygame-CE for Community Edition. I don't know why. Like, they didn't ask me. But anyway, so I guess there's a typo in my code. So let's check that out before we go over to the GitHub issue. So here's Pygame init. Here it is, load package Pygame CE. So we are loading the Pyodide package called Pygame CE. Now I expect this will make Pygame available in the PyScript context. Here's how we can test this, by the way, if you're new to Pyodide. So you can check out the Pyodide REPL. The Pyodide REPL. And here I'm using the stable version. I can also go to, I think, latest or dev. Yeah, so here's the latest version, Pyodide. That's not going to work. But I can import Pygame. You see how that worked? And you see how import Pygame refers to the Pygame CE Pyodide module. Where can I find your Discord server? It's on latterly.io under the community tab in the upper right. There's the Discord right there. Thanks for the question. Okay, so this is the REPL, and then you can do like your Pygame things over here. We're trying to do the same thing over in my browser. Let's also try to use stable. Let's try to use stable. Can I import Pygame on stable now? At the time where I did that issue, it was not in stable. It was in the developer version. So now it's in stable. So let's use this. And I think this was their guidance, by the way. I think they had 2 items of guidance. One is what happens if you use dev instead of whatever. It's intrinsically unstable. Sometimes we commit. So the indication here from Hoodmain, first indication is, hey, it could just be like the dev build is flaky right now. Right? Totally makes sense. So I could try using stable. The second thing they mention is this. Thanks for the follow, Kevin. The second thing, well, I guess this is a different person, Ryan King in this case. Member of Pyodide Core. Let's give him a follow. Thanks, Ryan. So there's two items that I will need to resolve here. Let's do the first thing first. Here in my template, I'm pointing to the dev version of Pyodide. Now I'd like to point to the stable version of Pyodide. Let me also check my branch. I'm on main. Whatever, we'll commit to main. We're hackers over here. W in the chat for hacking. So if we were doing things properly, we would make a feature branch, but we'll just go straight to main. And that's a really small change that I can commit in isolation, so let's do so. Where's this thing? Aria's Tail RPG. It's not here, is it? Looks like I am not viewing the repository now. Aria's Tail TCG. Okay, here it is. So this is, I don't know, feature or chore. Use stable. Pyodide. The stable version here I can see on pyodide.org. The stable version is 0260. Are you able to see that on TikTok? The contrast looks kind of poor. And so that gives me confidence when I use my index template file here. And it says Pyodide stable. Oh, maybe not so. I thought there was a 2.6 in here somewhere. Let me command click this and see if I can get, okay. Wow. Okay, so no such key exists on the stable here. Is it supposed to be 026.0? No. Cool, so I just broke my CDN reference basically. That was not smart. Okay, this is what the index URL should be. This is not the only way to find it, y'all. You could read through the documentation. That's just like a quicker way for me to do it. Okay, so what was my typo here? Oh, the V. I didn't have the V. So I was saying 026. Yeah, got it. Okay, that's fine. So let me fix my CDN reference. Fix CDN URL. Cool. Now I'm going to run the build again. And so now there will be some dist index, close others, source dist index. And we find the new CDN is here on the index. I will now go here and I'm going to right click and I'm going to do an empty cache and hard reload. That's important because the script file will be cached. So this is the first of two recommendations that they made. We still see no module name Pygame. And what do we see on the terminal? Does it match? It looks to match, basically. Thank you for the likes. It says PyScript page is fully initialized. So PyScript seems to be working fine, and this is just a problem with Pygame. Let's do this. I'm going to just pull a trust me, bro. The error that I'm seeing is different than the error under discussion here. So I don't know that this will fix anything. But this is still important, so let's go ahead and do it. And basically the recommendation that he's making is, hey, you need to tell Pyodide the canvas ahead of time. So here's what I did. I set a Pyodide global reference to my canvas element. And basically he's saying like that's the wrong way to do it. That what you should do is this other thing, which is now on my clipboard. And the reason for that, so basically it's an early binding, late binding shift. And the reason that we want to bind early, they are saying, is because Pyodide is 1-to-1. It's 1-to-1 on Emscripten. It's 1-to-1 on Emscripten. What's Emscripten? It's the thing that's going to let my video game have audio. So you could have multiple canvases on your page, and Python could be painting them all. But if you want to have any audio interface, there can only be one at the current time. And that's the piece that I was missing. And so you need to do an early binding for that. And Pygame is going to try to set that up by default. So it'll just error out if you don't have an early declaration of the proper canvas. Okay, so now I have this. I'm going to make it a const. That's fine. So here's my constant reference to the canvas. I actually call this thing by ID. Call this thing by ID. Now he's creating it. I don't know if there's some magic in create versus reference. So instead of deleting it, I'll just comment it. In either case, we're going to end up wanting to set it. So initialize a canvas and pass it to Pyodide. We're not going to do it this way. I'm going to cut that and move it up. And I'm going to call this SDL2 canvas. I don't know why I'm calling it that. He called it that. I'll call it that. If somebody knows what the SDL2 thing means, let me know. Maybe that's a reference to the audio processor or like the audio process. I don't know. Kenny, what happened to Arya's tail? We're trying to work on it, believe it or not. It might be hard to tell if you have your nose down in the HTML, but we will be trying to do an Arya's tail browser-based video game in Python here once we can get this bad boy working. Okay, so here we will get element by ID. We will set it as a global. I might not need it. I might to do, maybe not needed. Okay, we'll go ahead and keep it for now, but it may be not needed. And then we will Pyodide set the canvas. This is the important part. Now I need to load Pyodide first. So let me move that up. Okay. And now this has been set before we load Pygame. So as I understand it, this is the essential element mentioned by Ryan. We set the canvas to Pyodide. Like there's a Pyodide level single canvas. Why do we do that? Because of the audio interface required for Pygame. That's my understanding. Okay. We load the package, cool. And then we get our Python code, which is, this is why we have a build step, by the way. We're literally putting the Python code in this app Python code block. Yep. Pyodide set globals. We can move this up. We can move this up. So it's like a self-reference. Yeah, we can do that right there, I think. And finally, we run the Python. You're running Python as a subroutine to JavaScript. Isn't that strange? And the way this is all implemented, if you're wondering how it works under the hood, there is not a lang-to-lang bridge. It is using WebGL. That's why it can be fast. How could it be fast if you're literally taking Python and piping it over like a process? Like, what is there, like Bash in the browser? Like, how does that even work? It's like a TTL in the browser? No, it's using WebGL. It's using WebGL. So it's very, very fast. Okay, let's see if I can run this build again. And I don't know. I don't have much confidence that this is going to work. So there's no module named Pygame. I think this is a fine result. It might represent incremental progress. The error is distinct. The error is distinct from what we were talking about over here. Pyodide has suffered a fatal error, is no longer going to be there. B, thanks for the follow. So let's look at this console error. We're having an error in the eval code step because there is no module named Pygame. I have two output forms. One is using PyScript. So we'll see if that works at all. I doubt it. Let's just see, though. Doesn't hurt anything to check, right? Oh, this is already using PyScript. So let me use the other one, which is not PyScript. Bro, that's working. There's still a spinner, so you might think it's not working, but that's actually working. The audio context was not allowed to start. That's interesting. It must be resumed after a user gesture. I don't know why I need to do a user gesture or how to do a user gesture, but that kind of worked. Why did my screen go blank? Let me close this. Okay. It's acting a bit like there's a mem leak. Like my process is not continuing properly. Matthew says bad tutorial. Yeah, this would be a terrible tutorial. It's not meant to be a tutorial though. Okay, thanks for the follow. Bathsheba, thanks for the likes. So this is hanging, which indicates a memory leak. We can reduce this to some degree. Let me delete a bunch of this stuff. So I'll pygame init pygame.quit, and then I'll print sup. I should not be doing this in this file. Let me go to my not PyScript file. Import pygame, import sys main. Loading Pygame. All right, sweet. If you're using Canvas element for SDL library, it should have ID Canvas to work properly. Oh, okay. I think we are trying to use the SDL library. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but thanks for the... That was pretty clear, wasn't it? So this needs to have ID Canvas. I rebuilt, so it wiped my changes, but that's okay. Here, let me also get rid of the sys exit, and I'll just print hello Pyodide. Sure. We have hello Pyodide. So we're importing Pygame. This is pretty good progress. If you're expecting to be able to play the game today, I have bad news for you. But this is actually great progress. So we're importing Pygame. We've cleared the error. We've initialized the module. We've quit the module. And then we get to a print statement on the other side. This sys exit, I think, is inappropriate. It seems like that causes some sort of promissory error. Yeah. So let me go into my template here. What do I want to do here? What I want to do here is go to my app Python code. No, I want to get rid of the sysquit, wherever that is. I think it's in my Python code. Yeah. Let's get rid of the sys exit. So now I'll try to build again. And let's see what is in our script tag. Thank you for the follow. Oh, the body is just a ghost. That's wild. I'm expecting to see this stuff within the file. Index template HTML, index HTML. Sys exit is commented. I'm expecting that not to process, so I should not have the promissory error that we ran into previously. I cannot see my DOM. Is it just like a memory exhaustion problem? Okay, I think this represents progress, and so I'll report back on the GitHub issue and see what they have to say from there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope this was interesting to you. You can follow the page whether you're already a programmer and you just want to hang out with the community, which we love, or if you are interested in learning to code or switching careers or something like that. All are welcome. I don't know about a job, just want some practical Python project to improve my workflow automation. Yeah, I mean, feel free to join for that as well. So ladderly.io is the website. You can check my bio. And under the community tab, there's the Discord. If you want to pull up to the Discord, if there's a particular automation problem that you can describe, like a certain task that you want to automate, let's chat. I mean, that's a great topic for conversation. Thanks for being